Welcome to the Digital Journey Podcast. Every successful online business entrepreneur has an incredible story to share about their journey to success. Listen and learn from top digital mavericks and online business insiders as they share their secrets so you can live the lifestyle you deserve. Your pilots for today's journey, Rob Fortney and Nick Nimmin. Welcome aboard, passengers. The digital journey begins now.
Welcome to the Digital Journey Podcast, navigating your online business voyage. I'm Rob Fortney from the Amazon Gorillas, and we won't call him my sexy partner today. We'll call him my handsome, good-looking partner.
That's good. I'm a little bit upset, actually, that I've been downgraded from sexy to handsome and good-looking.
Well, I didn't want to oversell you to Stephanie.
Okay, I understand that. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's cool. I appreciate it.
If this is your first time, welcome to the podcast. The Digital Journey Podcast is produced every week to make you super smart.
Feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed so you don't miss any info nuggets that may be a game changer for you and your digital business. And if you want to see the video version of the podcast, head to our website at digitaljourneypodcast.com.
All right, so our guest for today is Stephanie Simmon. How are you, Stephanie?
Doing very well, thank you. It's such an honor to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. Stephanie comes by way of Chicago through Austin. She became a Southerner like I did in the last couple of years, falling in love with the South. And Stephanie is working on some amazing products. She's going to share with us about the cryptocurrency field, and she's going to share some information about how you can take your freelancing and turn it into your own product at some point. So we're going to get some super big information nuggets out of her today.
And before we get into that, I want to let you know that the Digital Journey Podcast is brought to you by our friends at empireflippers.com. Empire Flippers is the #1 curated marketplace for buying and selling established, profitable online businesses. Visit their website at empireflippers.com and see what businesses are for sale. Or if you already own a business, there is a great place on their website where you can actually get your business evaluated to see how much it's worth. So with all of that out of the way, let's get into the journey.
All right, Steph. So first place we start at is you just got to give us your backstory, like who you are, where you came from, catch us up, to 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, because we'll get into that more in depth. But
it all started on a winter day on October 1st, 1988. No, okay, yeah, it was crisp
cell of
Chicago cold weather. No, let's see. I guess like how I got started in this game.
Well, no. Before you started in this game, let's get the pre.
Yeah,
stuff
this is
on.
the journey. Yeah, this is
the whole
digital journey.
So like when you were 12 and you were on like your first Macintosh, and you're
I was not cool enough to have a Mac when I was 12, unfortunately, but that would have been awesome.
Commodore 64.
Yeah. Let's see. So, well, I grew up in Chicago, and I went to university just like most people do. You think like that's the absolute plan that you're set for. So I went to Kalamazoo College in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I studied international relations and Mandarin Chinese. So I thought for
You speak
sure,
Mandarin?
I do speak Mandarin.
Awesome. Look at
Ni
that.
hao,
Awesome.
motherfucker. Just kidding. Can I curse on this?
Yeah.
No, probably not. Sorry.
Yeah. We're adults here. It's not like there's a bunch of kids listening.
Right. So, I was pretty sure I knew exactly what I was going to do. I planned very much to work for the government. I had gotten.
Phew, you were going to march the line.
I was on some Born Identity shiz. Yeah, I knew. I thought, I was like, okay, I've studied a little bit of martial arts. I'm going to learn Chinese. I'm going to,
You're practically Asian.
I know,
Yeah,
practically,
yeah.
I know. I speak more Chinese than a lot of my Chinese friends, actually, which is kind of funny.
Nice.
But I got a scholarship from the Department of Defense to basically study Chinese. So the plan after graduation was to work for the Department of Defense. But then I didn't do that.
I bet you they were happy.
Yeah, so they're probably still hunting
Is
for
there
me.
a drone
Yeah,
out there
I know. There's
probably-
sorry about that drone that follows me around. I apologize. Yeah. No, I think my senior year, I realized very quickly that there's a lot of things that governments are involved with that it doesn't really matter what your own personal political views are. If you work for the government, you're representative of them. So whatever
their view is, that's
whatever
your
their view is, whatever they decide you need to do, you have to follow suit.
Right or
and there's
wrong,
a lot of
or-
repercussions. There's moral repercussions that you have to face with that, whatever
Sure.
that is. So I was learning a lot at the time about the history of the CIA and
the bad stuff that they have done.
Yeah. Well, because I was planning on, let's be honest here, I was studying a very high security language, you
Yeah.
know, and that was the plan, was to go into probably doing something with the CIA.
You spy girl.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna listen. I already know the title to this one. The Spy Girl.
There you go. Yeah, and it didn't sit well with me, honestly. So
How do you? Because I think there's something I'm interested in. So like they gave you a scholarship to do this.
Yeah.
And at the end you show up and go, it's changed my
Yeah.
mind.
Just kidding. I'm not going to
How
do
does that work?
So I think I'm supposed to still give them that money back, but they haven't found me yet. You know, I'm like hiding out in Chiang Mai, Thailand. So unless, you know, they're listening to this podcast, which they're always listening.
Sure.
But-
Or you're actually, or in reality, you're working for the CIA and you're
I
trying
know.
to infiltrate. Yeah.
Covertly.
It's going to be like a movie to where they
Right.
come and find her. She's like on some mountain in
Right.
Chiang Mai building like a log house or
Yeah.
something. And
No,
they're like, hey,
I'm-
we need you for one last job.
I'm on there with my laptop on the mountain. Come on, like let's plug that nomad
right.
life. Yeah, trying to find a Wi-Fi signal, but somewhere.
Hey, they do have pretty good signal on phones here, so like you can get Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
better
it's
than-
true. I'm pretty sure my parents think I'm sitting in a like Thai jungle somewhere
Sure.
with my laptop, like picking coconuts and shit, trying to just find Wi-Fi. But
Sure.
they have no idea how amazing
My
Chiang Mai
mom,
is.
my mom, 100% thought for the first year I was here that I lived in a hut. Like, I mean, honest to God, she would go, "So, Robbie, do you have a toilet inside?
Yeah.
If I come visit you, I'd be able."
Well, no joke. I almost thought you lived in a hut. Like the ride up here, you have to go through some like, you know, backfields and stuff, and then it turns out you got a nice place.
And
but
there's
yeah.
chickens in the road.
Yeah, there are chickens
There was
around.
real deal chickens with
I was
little
like,
chicks running around.
Where are
Cats
we
and
going?
dogs.
But yeah, okay.
We're not in India, so there's no cows. It's all right.
No
Hey,
cows.
but if you open that window behind you, that's what I work and I look at that mountain every single day.
That
That's
is a
my work.
great
And if I
view.
really get, and I have a great balcony out here, and I'll sit out there
Yeah.
on the balcony. Like now's the time. See, I haven't really used it because it's been too hot. but-
Yeah.
Sliding into cool season, this is the ideal
Back to our, like I'm telling you, like we're gonna end up being the number one addition to bringing more and more people to Chiang Mai. We talk about everybody. You know, we're here
Yeah.
obviously. We talk about it all the
Drinking
time.
that Chiang Mai
Biased.
Kool-Aid real
Yeah,
hard. Yeah.
and everybody does. I mean,
Yeah, I do
well, you
too.
can't help it.
By the bucket.
All
Yeah.
right, so you're a spy. Let's go back to the story because now they're all going to give us comments like, "Shut the hell up, let the hot girl talk."
Yeah, so I just decided that I didn't want to, you know, compromise my values or anything. And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. And my first real job, I guess, out of college was I was a personal banker for JP Morgan, which was
Oh,
interesting.
even.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be a spy. Now I'm going to go be a personal banker.
Yeah, I just, you know, was like, I did something. Well, because, you know, essentially bankers are just glorified sales reps. You know, they're selling financial products. So
Sure.
I was good at sales and, you know, they train you for everything you need to know. And I kind of hopped in and got my first taste of working for a corporate company. And, you know, it was exactly like what everyone says it is. It was good money, but you know, everybody, you know, I was working in the financial district of Chicago, so my day would be working at the bank, trying to like really hustle and make as much money as possible, which meant that I was like pushing like credit cards on 18-year-olds and like trying to get people to refinance their mortgage when maybe that wasn't necessarily the best thing that they should be
Sure,
doing.
sure.
And it just didn't feel very authentic to me at all. And I was good at it though, so I was there for a year, and they were like, "Okay, well, we want you to get your investment license so that you can
We
become."
put you on more financial projects.
Yeah.
You get more money. For
Yeah,
people.
yeah. They wanted me to become an investment banker, so I was like, "Okay," and they pay for your training and all this stuff.
Always
but
familiar.
yes, but if you quit for some
Then
reason,
they want the money back.
yeah,
They're
exactly.
gonna
So I was
put
like,
you
"Oh,
on
I've been here
PG on
before.
that.
I'm not gonna
Right.
do this."
If you don't
So-
make me sign the personal guarantee
Yeah.
on it, like, okay, I can make that happen.
So then I was like, you know what? I'm not in love with banking. It was a way to, you know, have a nice life in Chicago. But I basically started all over again, and I quit that job right before they invested in me, which I thought was the smartest thing to do, and packed up my shit, broke up with like this guy that had been dating for on and off for like 8 years, and then just left and started over in Austin, Texas. Yeah.
Nice. That's a big jump.
Yeah,
a
it
lot
was
of
a huge
changes
jump.
happening at that time in
Yeah,
your life.
it
for
was
sure.
big for sure, and I knew that at that point. That's when I really understood that I wanted to start doing things not for the money, but more for just enjoying myself. Obviously, you want to be able to make money no matter what you do.
Sure.
You've got to find a way to make that. I don't believe necessarily in just following your passions. You know, if you're into juggling, that's great, but you know, are you going to be able to make an income off of that? Do you have something like juggling that that you can get passionate about, but that it has a good market fit and that people are willing to pay for?
Right.
You know, so that's that. I think there's a sweet spot there.
I think that stop there because I think
Yeah.
explain that or talk about that some more because I think that's one of the things that people get lost in a little bit too. Like, well, because that's what you hear the tribe is shouting out there. Oh, you're a knitter. Be like make $1 million being a knitter. You know?
Right.
Like I appreciate niches, but like sometimes your niche is too small.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely possible. I do think that with good marketing and sales skills, like you can make money off of many niches. There are many small niches. There's an audience for
Yes.
the craziest things. But that's what a lot of people are usually missing. You know, they hear this, they see these digital nomads posting on Instagram and Facebook, you know, their laptops on the beach, and they think like, oh, that person went and followed their passions. They're literally just making money posting pictures of themselves on a beach somewhere. That's how they must make their living. And it's like, you know,
They ain't
so
getting
all I
anything
have
done
to,
on that beach as far as I can
Yeah.
tell. Like, never anything getting done on
A tan,
beach.
maybe.
Yeah.
Actually working, like legit working from a beach is a pain in the
It's
ass.
the
Like
worst ever. You can't see anything.
sand in your keyboard, like.
Oh, you get sand
Yeah.
in your keyboard. I mean, I would say if you're a real entrepreneur, you're
Yeah.
never taking your laptop on a beach. Like,
Absolutely. Nobody
everything-
does that.
Right. I mean, that'd
Yeah.
be the worst thing that could ever happen.
No, literally, those pictures are like people that are really running businesses and doing this. They look at those pictures and they think like, okay, bro, like I know what you're trying to do right now.
And if you get
but-
on, and if you take
yeah.
even on a balcony, even when you're trying to listen, if you're going to work any number of times, first of all, you got to be in a proper working position.
Yeah.
You know, I'm at my desk.
Ergonomics,
my little
folks.
things
Yes.
here.
Ergonomics.
I mean, you know, I
Absolutely.
got pads on my thing because I
Right.
sit for 5, 6, 7 hours sometimes at a
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Like, that's definitely a misconception. And so people think that all they have to do is find something they're passionate about. And of course, everyone's passionate about traveling. And they're like, oh, I'm
gonna be
just
a
going to
travel
go.
blogger.
And yeah, I'm going to be a travel blogger or something like that. And that's fine. There are people, I know plenty of travel bloggers that are making good money doing what they're doing, but either they got in early before it became super saturated and they've been doing it for a long time and they're super consistent and they're posting, you know,
they work.
yeah, they work so hard. And even the Instagram models, you know, the ones that get paid to just order lavish breakfasts that they're not going to eat, you know, and like on a Greek terrace somewhere. Like those girls, I think the misconception with them is that they're just paid to be beautiful and sit in beautiful places and eat beautiful things. But the truth of the matter is like they have to go and work really hard to get like good photography done. They've got to edit their shit. They've got to go and like market it. They have to
They have
create
to
brand
actually work to get that brand deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
they
right.
got to get their brand sponsorships. They have to make sure they're engaging with their audience. They've got to, you know, follow other people in the community and make sure that they're creating these networks and relationships, travel to conferences. Like it's a full-time job to run one of those Instagrams where it just looks like they're living their life and they're
Nobody's
YOLOing
just
it.
like taking pictures of their perfect little life, posting
Right.
it. Not if you have a
absolutely
million
not.
followers.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's like some of
It's a
these
business.
influencers have 10, 11 person teams running their Instagram account. So
Because they can make that kind of money.
Exactly.
That's why.
But it's never easy. And so that's an example of, okay, if you're passionate about traveling, fantastic. But if you think you're just going to be able to treat it like a passion and not treat it like a full-time job, you're not going to be able to make money.
What are you
off it.
passionate about?
I'd say community. I love community. You know, when I first came to Chiang Mai, I immediately hopped into the community. I'm a fairly social person. I like to organize events. I like public speaking and things like that. So I get my energy, like my zest, off of people and just doing exactly like what we're doing right now, talking and chatting. That's the kind of stuff I love. So my goal for this next stretch in Chiang Mai is to really take that to the next level for myself and start contributing to the amazing community that already exists here in new, fresh ways. So there's a lot that's happening in Chiang Mai, but there's still so much room for more to happen. And especially in my case, where I plan on staying for a while, it's a fairly transient city. So, you know, people may set an event or two, but then they leave. So there's room for people like you and me, Rob, where we're here to stay and we can really become pillars pillars in the community. So
being at the right place at the right time,
Right.
and not being there too late is always a problem.
exactly.
If you're looking at fidget spinners to sell on Amazon right now for Christmas, you made it too late.
I still never got on the fidget spinner train. I mean, it's just, what is it? It's just like interesting
Have
to
you
look
had
at.
one in your hand?
No.
Once you
haven't
put
either.
one in your hand, you'll get it for a minute.
Okay.
Like, and if you're 8, then you'll move on. But like for a minute, it's kind of like, okay.
Is it cathartic or what's the deal?
Yeah, it's just like squeezing a ball. It's just like spinning something, and just and you feel it, and it's just
Okay.
instead of whatever the things
that
you might
blew
do.
up for
Instead
sure.
of tapping with a pin.
Yeah.
Spin that.
Okay.
It's just a way to distract your mind.
Interesting.
I always thought if you could use it as some kind of meditation tool, it might have been more.
That's what I thought.
valuable,
It had
but,
to.
like,
Okay.
Maybe that's the whole market. Maybe that's the niche in the fidget
Yeah.
spinner.
Who knows?
Be a Buddhist. Make Buddhist fidget spinners for meditation. Or something, see, be creative with what you're doing.
Yeah.
So with you living in Austin, what got you from Austin to Chiang Mai? What does that look like?
Sure. So I guess I'll talk about that. So I was working for, I got a job working for a social media company that basically does social media for small businesses called Main Street Hub. Great company, awesome culture. It's like exactly what you think of when you think of tech startups. They had beanbag chairs and pool tables and beer in the fridge all the time, and like, just fun culture and stuff. But I wasn't the right fit for that position. They really wanted like super grammatically correct writers and all that kind of stuff. And my style of writing was not like that. And I kept offending like our clients with like my social media posts. Like my humor is a little bit crude, and it just didn't translate. It was very like, when you work for a company that has 300 employees, there's structures, there's systems put in place. So if you're a rogue employee trying to do your own thing, you kind of stick out a little bit. So it wasn't the right fit, and I was let go. It was the first time I was let go from a company.
How does that feel?
Oh man, it was awful. I had no idea. I went into work that morning thinking I had a job, and I left without one. And suddenly I had to make rent. I was alone in Austin, and I had just moved into a new apartment, signed a lease, and I was like,
Oh
what
no, the new lease on top.
I was like, what am I going to do? And so I started going to meetups, and I was like, I'm just going to meet people, as many people as possible, and try to figure out if I can find another job, something. I was super clueless. And I found this guy, my friend Marcus, who he was running his own business. He had basically built this website called My Vidster, which when he was building it, it was at the time when YouTube was just starting to like really gain traction. And so he was trying to build something similar to YouTube. It was going to be like a video curation website where you could just bookmark whatever videos you wanted to bookmark. And he quickly realized that YouTube was exploding and that there was no way he was going to be able to compete. He also realized that the videos that people were bookmarking on his website were porn. Like all these dudes were booking their porn and putting it on these like curated little playlists. And he was like, well, hey, there's an opportunity here.
Sure.
So he decided to monetize off of that. He was like, all right, well, I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna start targeting this audience and put advertising on the website for, porn, whatever, and he started making money that way.
Sure, especially 10 years ago.
Oh yeah,
Also, I bet he was cleaning
yeah.
house.
And it was a very, very niche demographic. It was gay black porn.
That is, yeah.
It was super niche.
Yeah.
That's his
Very niche.
website? I didn't
Yeah.
tell him thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much.
yeah.
It changed everything about
yeah.
it. I'm no longer losing those videos.
I thought I recognized you, Rob. I was like, oh, you're a power user. Okay, yeah, all right.
No, I'm actually in the video.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You want to talk about sub niches? Porn has got their sub niches
I was the only
on
white
lockdown.
guy in black porn.
Yeah, there's all sorts of great stuff. I mean, and by great, I mean terrifying things that I cannot unsee on the internet when it comes to. But anyways, so I told him I was looking for a job, and he was like, well, I need someone the affiliate ads are really taking off, and it would be great if I could have someone that ran our affiliate marketing program. And basically just went in and kind of figured out like which of our partners were bringing in most of our ad revenue, and then, do the 80-20 rule, basically cut out the ones that weren't making us money and just continue to create partnerships with the ones that were. And that was my first foray into online marketing. And I got immediately exposed. I saw that he had control of his own schedule, that, he could work from home, that he didn't have to go into another business or whatever. And he was making good money and enough to like hire me full time. And I thought that was amazing. And I was very inspired by that. Now, granted, I think deep down I knew I didn't want to be a gay Black porn affiliate manager for the rest of my life.
Sure.
But it was certainly an experience. And
From a
Yeah.
spy. That's going to be the title. From spy to internet porn queen.
no, please, no. That's going to be misconstrued.
We're gonna get a million clicks on this.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's funny. I went so I got hired by him in like January of, I don't know, it's like 2013 or 14 or something like that. And immediately within a week of getting hired, so I had no experience really. He was going to train me on everything I needed to know. And he's like, well, I booked us tickets to Vegas because Internext, which is like the porn affiliate conference that happens every single year, is happening. So are you ready? Let's go. We're going to dive right in. And I ended up like I went from like doing social media work to like suddenly I was on a plane and I was like hobnobbing with like, you know, some of the biggest porn people in the industry, including like porn stars and all that stuff. Like I saw what's his butt, like I think his name is James Dean. He's a porn actor, speak, and Asa Akira, who's like one of the biggest porn actresses in the Asian porn scene. Yeah, it was definitely an experience for sure. But being a woman in that scene was kind of intimidating. Most people thought I was working there as like a cam girl. Nobody took me seriously. I was like, no, I swear, I'm here to like talk affiliate marketing, and they were just like, yeah,
you're
totally.
hot.
Yeah, they're just like, whatever. So, but yeah, I'm really glad that I had that experience though, because I got to watch Marcus in his, build this business, and I got to see him do something that
it was inspiration.
It definitely was. I knew I wasn't going to do what he was doing, but I knew I wanted to have the kind of life that he had, that sort of freedom. And so that, being in the affiliate marketing world is where I first got exposed to the importance of copywriting. I knew some people that were, because, copywriting and affiliate.
My brain just went completely in the gutter for that one. And I'm thinking like, okay, she's doing this affiliate thing for the adult site, and then she switches into copywriting. So she's responsible for writing these descriptions. And then Bob walks into the room. And
want to learn how to get a 10-inch penis? Just take these pills. No,
See,
no.
You could have been doing both of that.
I could have. Yeah, who knows? But that's how I found out about copywriting. I had a really good friend of mine named Neville Medora, who is this huge, awesome, great, successful copywriter in Austin, Texas. And so all of these things were happening at the same time. I was just sort of being exposed to the internet marketing world, and I was seeing Neville crush it in copywriting. He's a huge inspiration for me personally. And I was like, you know what? There's something here. So I eventually pivoted, and I was like, okay, I think I'm ready after a year of working in the adult industry. I was like, I'm ready to take a step out of that now, but I still want to be in internet marketing. And that's how I got into copywriting. And I thought, okay, I'm going to maybe do copywriting for, a different vertical, not porn, but like affiliate marketing, copywriting for something else. And I heard that there was a huge scene in Bangkok. So I was like, okay, let's go to Bangkok. Let's go there. And
let's go. So
I have a boyfriend.
Yeah. Boyfriend.
Yeah. And he was the one who had kind of told me about Bangkok and Chiang Mai. There's a forum called Fastlane Forum. Are you guys familiar with it? Yeah, it's a great forum. I think it's like $100 a month. But that's actually a good thing, because the quality of the people who join the forum and the responses that you're getting are really, really, really fantastic. But basically, it's just it's a forum for people that want to like make money online. And you get a lot of like OG affiliate marketers in there who are, have been killing it for years, and they'll pop in every once in a while and give you some like amazing advice. And so, there was a thread about Chiang Mai versus Bangkok. And eventually we were like, you know what? Let's try Chiang Mai first. Apparently the community is amazing. Let's go there. And obviously I didn't end up doing affiliate marketing. I ended up niching down into, autoresponders. But that's the story of how I ended up in Chiang Mai working for myself. It was kind of a crazy journey to really
It is,
have
absolutely.
So you arrived in Chiang Mai.
Yep.
And you're not a copywriter at that point. I mean.
Oh no, I was starting to call myself one. I was like, you just got to own it.
Yeah.
When you're making that transition, like I felt like I didn't have a lot of experience yet, but I was like, I'm gonna study this craft. I'm gonna learn everything I need to know.
So did you make money as a copywriter before you had left, like on
Yeah,
your own?
I got super lucky.
Okay, so let's start there, because I think one of the things that we always talk about here is that first experience with money.
Yep.
Like, so tell us about your experience of, all right, I'm going to do this, and then the money actually showed up in a checking account, or someone paid you for something that you were doing.
Absolutely. So okay. So that Neville guy that I talked about earlier, he's really, really just like an awesome person. Anyone that's listening to this and is interested in copywriting should check out his course, copywritingcourse.com. It's spelled with a K, so copywriting with a K and then course with a K. But he's definitely like OG copywriter as far as our generation goes. And he told me that if I wanted to start copywriting, I should start with this book called The Boron Letters, written by Gary Halpert, who, you know, was a really famous copywriter back in like the 60s, it's the 60s, 70s, I think, or something like that, maybe earlier than that. And he wrote this fantastic book. And from there, it's like you go down the rabbit trail, you start to figure out what Gary read and like books that he recommends you read and stuff like that. And I dove right in. So I spent about, I'd say, a solid month just taking copious notes on copywriting and reading like the top 5 or 6 books in the field. I just went on Amazon and just downloaded them to my Kindle and then just started reading and trying to absorb as much information as possible. And then the great thing about copywriting is that, you know, it's one of those skill sets where you can immediately put it into use, especially when you're trying to find a client. You know, if you can't convince a client through writing that they should hire you, then your copy probably sucks. So back to the drawing board.
Sure.
And so I was immediately able to start using the principles that I was learning to try to get my first client. And I went on Upwork. I was living in San Antonio at the time. I was visiting my parents, and I went on Upwork, and I just created a profile. I used some tips from the Fastlane forum for people that had experience working on Upwork, and I combined those with like this like old school advice from these copywriters, and I put together, you know, my first like cover letters or whatever. They're not really cover letters, so to speak, and started applying for jobs. And I guess my copywriting was pretty decent because within 48 hours, like 50% of the people got back to me and they were like, yeah, we're interested and I'd love to hire you. And then within a few days from that, I got my first client and he was paying me like $4,000 a month US basically to do a copywriting gig for him, which, you know, maybe in retrospect is not like a ton of money. There's copywriters that are making way more than that.
Job,
I went from no job to that.
Yeah. I was a copywriter, but I did a month worth of studying. So
but I think I had a knack for it. You know, I wouldn't say that that's like typical results. Like sure. I think
sometimes
deep down I knew.
Excel at things.
Yeah. I think deep down I knew that I was going to be good. Like I was going to be good at this.
I think you were going to be good at whatever you did. Just hearing the story, I don't think anything you would have chose to do at that time. You know,
but I did go hard. Like I didn't just read the books once. I read them over and over again.
Right.
And then I took notes and then I read them again and I wrote things and I like really did like a deep dive, almost crash course.
Now, those books that you were reading, what type of tidbits did you get out of those books? I mean, I'm sure, I mean, you have like a month worth of notes or months worth of notes,
yeah.
but like for somebody that might be listening to this that is considering following a similar path,
sure.
Like first off, the actual books that you read, if you could list those
sure.
really quick, and two, what type of actual tidbits did you get out of there that you could share with somebody
absolutely.
to actually help them on that journey as well?
I'm going to actually pull up my Kindle so that I don't forget anything. Okay, so I'd say like the most important thing is I have a book about the enlightened man pops up first. It's hilarious. Okay, so let's see. We'll start with the books that I was reading at the time.
Okay.
I have to go all the way back. So, Ogilvy on advertising, Cashvertising is a fantastic book. I mean, that was a Cashvertising, really, really, really great stuff. I read that one like 3 times. My Life in Advertising and Scientific Advertising, the Robert Collier letter book, the Triggers. Oh, Sugarman. Joe Sugarman is fantastic. Yeah, Triggers is a fantastic book. So I started with those, and I mean, the biggest thing that I think that like really changed how I approach marketing in general is I learned that in copywriting, you know, it's very similar to sales. It's just about not talking about yourself and what you want, but really trying to put yourself into the mind of the person you're speaking to. But the only difference is that in this time in sales, like I would use my own language sometimes, but in written copywriting, I was suddenly very acutely aware of the language that I'm using to relate to my audience. So, you know, you suddenly start to pay attention to how exactly are they describing their problem? And when you're providing the solution, can you say back to them exactly what their problem is so that they're nodding their head along the entire time thinking, man, that's exactly what I'm struggling with right now. I wish that I had what you're providing to help me with that because it sounds like it's perfect for me. And when I was trying to find my first client, I immediately put that into practice. I was like, okay, most people on Upwork are nervous about a few things. A, they're scared that they're not going to be able to find someone who's going to get the job done well, right? That's it's an obvious concern.
Sure.
But other things to think about, like they want someone that's an English speaker, right? So maybe I would have taken that for granted and I would have not mentioned that in my copy, because I would have been like, duh, of course I speak English. But, I was like, definitely speak English. Like I'm from America, so you don't have to worry about that. The other thing is like they're trying to make sure that they don't get screwed over. So I offered immediately in the beginning a 100% money back guarantee if they weren't satisfied with their work. And I was confident in my own abilities that I would never have to actually deal with that. Like I wouldn't have to do work and give the money back. I was pretty confident. So for me, that was one of those things where I knew that was a problem they had, was being afraid to hire someone that they can't see, that's not physically in front of them. So I immediately just got rid of that, So those are just examples of how I tried to put myself in the mind of the people that I was targeting, in this case, potential clients. And when I wrote copy, I hit all of their concerns in my copy. The other thing is like, I think, on Upwork, this is where copywriters will stand out for sure. On Upwork, a lot of people are very technical about their descriptions. They're like, oh, here's all the million things I can do. And they just don't talk to you in a way that resonates. Whereas once you become a copywriter, it changes the way you write for the rest of your life, no matter what you do.
Does it change the way you speak?
I don't think so. I mean, I think I always talked like this. I don't know. I can only speak for myself. It may do that for other people. I've always sort of been, an intuitive person, so I can kind of get a good feel for who I'm talking to and like immediately sort of acclimate. But in writing, I thought that I had to follow a specific format. Like there was like a formula for how you apply for jobs. You look up resumes and cover letters online, and there's a formula for that. And now I realize I don't do that anymore. Now I'm like, I'm not going to follow any formula. I'm going to think about what this person needs right now, and I'm going to tell them exactly how I can provide that for them and just solve their problems. And I'm going to cut through the bullshit essentially and just speak to them like we're sitting across from each other at a table, even though I'm writing to them. Use simple language instead of convoluted language. These are just little things you pick up, and it really does change the way you write forever. Like even when I was creating events in Chiang Mai, I would keep that logic in the back of my mind when I was putting together an event. I wouldn't write a bio about my speaker. I would talk about specifically what you would learn if you saw this person talk.
Nice.
So, it's always about like what's in it for them. And that was a huge paradigm shift for me, for sure.
Nice. So once you came to Bangkok and you came to Chiang Mai, have you had any difficult moments? Because during the journey, you've lost your job, you started copywriting, you started freelancing, you got your first client, relatively fast. You made the jump to come over here. Once you started coming over here and you started actually walking that path, did you have anything that you ran into to where you're thinking like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, or this is harder than I thought it was, or this is easier. This is easier than I thought it was. Like, have you had anything like that you've had to overcome?
Yeah, so I've had both. I've had an experience with copywriting where I thought this is harder than I thought it was going to be, and then I had one where it was easier. So the hard thing was learning how to make sure that you're communicating with your clients really well. Setting proper expectations, because once you are in charge of your own schedule, there's nobody that's hounding you and telling you like, okay, you got to make sure you do this, you got to wake up at this time or anything like that. So you have to be that person for yourself. And the other thing is clients, everybody operates on their own kind of schedule and stuff. So the client may assume that you're doing the same thing as them, and making sure that you're communicating and saying like, okay, this is when I'm going to get this to you at this time, and this is how, just proper communicate. I definitely struggled with that in the beginning a little bit. There was a bit of a learning curve there.
Did you get any backlash from that? Like,
Absolutely.
Did you have customers that were upset and they're like,
yeah.
hey?
Yeah, I had a particular client where I was a bit ambitious and thought that I could handle so I niched down into email autoresponders. And I was writing an autoresponder for this client, and I was over ambitious. I was definitely in the like chasing the money kind of thing, where I wanted to make sure that I made him so happy that, he would never like consider not paying me or anything like that. So I promised to also do the tech implementation for these email autoresponders. And that's something that like legit, I've learned now, the copywriters just don't do, because you either are a technical person or you're like really like honing your craft and you're becoming an amazing writer, you know? Now, granted, Neville's actually a really big proponent of being like a triple threat or like a double threat, like really having, like being a copywriter that also has technical expertise. But in the beginning, when I was just starting out, I didn't really have the capacity to be learning both. Sure. You know, I really wanted to get good at the copywriting part first. And so I promised to implement tech. And then I realized I was in over my head, and I was like, man, this stuff is complicated. And I tried to like offer a discount in order to not have to implement the tech, and he got very upset about that. So, you know, you learn the hard way. Definitely never promised to do tech again after that. You know, I was like, look, with my next client, I was like, I'll write these emails for you, but you have to find someone to install them, you know, because softwares change. One day, Aweber is the hot email marketing software. The next day, it's Infusionsoft. And then after that, suddenly now everyone's on ConvertKit or Drip, you know? I would have to consistently be updating my tech skill sets. And every hour you're doing that is 1 hour you're not putting towards your craft. So you have to know yourself, and you have to be able to communicate well with your clients. Yeah.
So how long was it till, so you were doing clients, how long was it before? So did you just take on one client at a time, or because I usually the part of the conversation we talk about here is, you know, when we were making steady money. But so if you got one client and they started out with, you know, with the $4,000 a month, so when were you consistently working with clients? Then were you just taking on jobs and jobs after that when you got to here?
Yeah, so I was taking on, I had like about 1 or 2 clients at a time, because I really wanted to do a good job. I was, you know, still trying to like really get good at what I was doing. But then I noticed that earlier you asked me what was something I was surprised at that went really well. And that was, as soon as I started doing public speaking, I realized that was like an ultimate lead magnet, if we're going to talk marketing terms. Like, you know, being able to put myself out there and talk a little bit about some of the things I was learning. Certainly never called myself an expert, because I feel like I'm an eternal student, but I was farther along on my journey than someone who was just starting out. So I felt like I had something that I could offer and bring to the table. So I gave a few talks on copywriting, and I would have people reaching out to me left and right that wanted to work with me after I started doing that. And that was way more effective than like anything I had been doing prior to that. So that was a huge surprise. I was surprised by how, what a great just client acquisition tool public speaking was. And so I think people are scared to do that, but it's a gold mine.
I get offered at least 2 business opportunities a week, at least.
Really?
Just from speaking, because people will go, oh, I saw you speak, and they know you, they hear your thought process, and they're like, I could put Rob in on that. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, we were with Kurt Phillips last hour, and you know, he spoke about, you know, connecting with people and how those then immediately led into other things, and he would start 3 or 4 things at the same time, and he's working on all of them. But what happens for me is I meet people who are doing something, my skill applies in their skill. I can then form partnerships. So I have, I don't know, probably a dozen different partnerships where I just come in and step in the door, look around, we converse, we did the deal. But what these people needed was someone with a little more confidence, or had that skill set that I may possess, and I'm able to do it. I had a client offer, I was $300,000 worth of inventory to turn his inventory. Well, I don't have to buy it. Yeah, I'll front the inventory. All you got to do is market it. Okay.
That's amazing.
So that stuff happens because you're out public speaking. So I can see where that, I didn't even think about it. It just happened because I'm out public speaking, and then people are like, hey, do you want to do this with me? So I didn't think about it as really even networking, or I just thought I was out talking.
You're just out doing your thing.
Doing your thing.
But
Same. I was just trying to give back to the community. Right. I didn't think of it as a client acquisition tool until afterwards. I noticed, holy shit, like I'm getting a lot of like leads from this.
What happened to me was I would speak and I'd go, hey, listen, if any of you guys want to talk about your business, whatever, hey, go buy me lunch or whatever. And then at first, honest to God, I had to get a scheduler. Like, I had to get my scheduler, because I mean, and then when I first did the scheduler, you don't realize, and you like leave all these times open, you wouldn't think. And then all of a sudden, like, I've got 4 appointments in a day. I can't even eat that many meals. You know what I mean? Like, there were times like I'd go to the dinner one and I'm like, oh, I'm not really hungry. Because an hour and a half ago I just ate, and I was like, all of a sudden I realized I've got a part-time job meeting with people, and I'm not making any money here. So yeah,
I totally understand. Yep, absolutely.
Will you go to lunch with me? I would love to go to lunch with you. So our next foray into the podcast is I'm going to start recording those lunches.
Oh, you
so
should.
I'm going to go out and eat, and then we talk about brainstorming
That's
their
really,
ideas and stuff.
yeah,
So
that's a good idea.
the new
It's a really good
podcast.
idea.
So here you are. You're
Yeah.
now you've acquired some clients. You're
Yeah.
in Chiang Mai.
Yeah.
Things are going well. You're speaking. You're gaining
Yeah.
new clients.
Yep, and there was really great momentum. So I did eventually leave Chiang Mai for reasons outside of business, but during that time I started realizing, okay, I'd been doing copywriting at that point now for like almost 2 years, and I really enjoyed it, but I wanted to try something different, I guess. And I still wanted to use my copywriting, but just take it to the next level. So I wanted to find a way to build something for myself that I could put my name on and not just build stuff for other people. I think there's definitely value in that, though. Like, I don't regret doing the freelancing that I did, because that's how you get your chops, and you can get some consistent income.
And the
yeah.
skills that you learn
Yeah.
freelancing in general are, I mean,
Absolutely.
you'll carry those with you forever.
Forever. You have to learn how to like do business with people. And,
Right.
So I don't regret that at all. And I think like a lot of people try to jump right in. They'll quit their corporate jobs. They'll move to Chiang Mai and they'll try to jump right into building like their dream company or whatever. And they don't have consistent income and they don't have that safety net or anything like that. And they're too proud to work for someone in a freelancing capacity. And then they run out of money and then they leave. And suddenly the nomad community is known as the broke nomad community, that incestuously just hires each other out for whatever, because we're just all poor or something like that. We get that reputation. And so I think there's definitely something to be said about, keeping your day job until you build what you're building. And then, or if your day job happens to be freelancing, like there's nothing wrong with building some things for other people and getting paid for it.
And there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
freelancing. Like if that's,
there really
like
isn't.
if you don't mind working for, for people and you don't mind,
Absolutely.
providing that service, there's nothing wrong with freelancing at all. I tell people all the time that, like if you're trying to get into working online, the best thing that you can do and the fastest way that you can start making money is offering a service of some
Absolutely.
kind to other people and then kind of build off of the back of that.
Yeah, I'm a huge proponent of that. And so I'm really glad that I did that. But, eventually I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to try my hand at, something else. I had secured a special kind of partnership where I still am getting my bills paid, which is nice. So I've minimized the risk a little bit. I had learned about virtual summits actually when I was in Chiang Mai. There's a guy named Naveed Muazzez who got really big into the virtual summit scene, and he created a fantastic course called Virtual Summit Mastery, and he built like several successful virtual summits. And I was watching what he was doing and I was like, man, that's really cool. I'd love to learn how to do that. So I finally just buckled down, invested in the course, and it was fantastic. Like, I can't recommend it enough. It's like one of those courses where it's really worth the money. And for anyone that's unfamiliar with virtual summits, they're essentially just like online events that are anywhere from like 5 to 7 days long, usually centered around a specific topic in an industry. And each day of the event is a subtopic, and you interview like 30 or 40 speakers that are in that industry. It's a virtual online event. Usually you create like a Facebook group or something, and you release the videos for a set amount of time. And then if people want to have permanent access to the videos, because it's like 40 hours of content, then they buy an all access pass, and that's usually how you make your money. But really, like, it's really great because you can essentially I think the real value in virtual summits comes from positioning yourself well, and because you're hobnobbing with like all these great people in your industry.
Because that was when I'm hearing that, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
but most of my interaction, if I'm going to go to a summit, is I was at an SEO deal this week.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about SEO.
Right.
But that didn't matter to me. I made more contacts. It'll make me
Yep.
more money in the future than I could ever possibly have paid to go to the summit.
Absolutely.
So how does that happen online, virtually?
There's a few ways to do it. I've seen a lot of my colleagues who are building virtual summit, like people that I know that are building virtual summits. They've created like, Facebook group communities, but usually, sometimes they'll stream the videos live, and, you can hop right there in the chat and connect with other people and even ask questions to the speaker, and the host will, see the questions and take questions and ask them right there on the spot. But I'd say like the community really happens in the Facebook groups. So it's not like you're not getting that shaking hands face to face, like let's go grab a drink right now kind of community like you can at a live event. And, that's really hard to replicate.
But you can't travel.
But that being said, you can't be at all events at the same time. Whereas with a virtual summit, you could opt into a few virtual summits and really get access to quality content and from your living room. So there's a trade-off there, for sure. But, you can still interact with people in the groups. And in fact, I was part of a virtual summit and I did interact with people. It was awesome. So that's currently my project right now is, where I've decided that I want to build a product. And I think, and I didn't want to do a copywriting course. That wasn't me. It's, it's kind of like I said, copywriting is one of those disciplines that you'll use for the rest of your life when you study it, but you'll also feel like you've never mastered it. There's always something to learn. Human psychology is just this endless thing.
Changes.
Yeah.
Things happen.
Yeah. I mean, the industry itself has really gone through a metamorphosis. Back in like the direct sales days, with direct marketing, it was all about just, getting like a one page in like a newspaper ad or something like that and using your copywriting skills for that, or literally sending like dollar bills attached to letters in the mail, and convincing people to act on something. Now it's all about, like pop-ups and chat bots and, email opt-ins and sales landing pages, splash pages, squeeze pages, all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely changing. Less is more now for sure. But it's still the actual concepts of understanding what makes people make decisions and what makes them decide to buy stuff. That's never going to change no matter what medium, whatever tech mediums you have. And that part of copywriting is the part that takes years and years and years before you truly have it ingrained within you and you understand that about people. So I didn't want to, I knew when I wanted to create a product, I personally didn't want to do that because I felt like I hadn't dedicated enough time to the field. But whereas a virtual summit is something where I felt like my sales copywriting could support that really well, because you have to build email autoresponders in your summit. So I was like, this is perfect. This is a way to apply what I've studied, but now I can actually build a product.
Sure. So with the virtual summit that you're working on, what's the topic? What's the what is it specifically that you're working on?
So I'm actually building out two.
Okay.
For basically, I've got one. I've partnered up with one client. We're taking just a little bit of a hiatus so that I can really focus on my cryptocurrency summit. But we're in the process of building out a fashion summit. She's basically trying to become like a fashion influencer in the 40 plus space. And so
why did you point at me when you said 40 plus space? She said 40 plus space and pointed right at me. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Yeah. No, so that was a really interesting one because I love working in verticals where marketing is not necessary. I don't like to market to marketers.
Sure.
That's challenging. It's very difficult to do. It's oversaturated and it comes off super skeezy. So I love studying marketing, but applying it in verticals that typically the people who are in that vertical are not marketers, because then you can really experiment with some of the tactics you're learning, and it still can be used very well.
Then you can really pull the wool over their eyes.
Then you can really get them. Yeah.
The marketers are the easiest ones to pull the wool over.
You think so? Really?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I feel by it because I'm a marketer. So when I see all that opt-in stuff, I'm I'm annoyed. I feel like my bar for what is going to get my email address is much higher now, because I'm you need to try harder, dude.
Yeah,
those are some old tactics. Come on, let's get creative.
Bring it
here.
up to date.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, that's why we all have these trash email accounts.
Yeah.
Every time I buy a product or whatever, or a software product, I send it to this one email address. The problem is that when you go back to maybe need the information about the product, there's so much junk in there.
Oh my God, so much shit. I know. I have 10,000, and in that email, in my trash email, I have 10,000 unread email messages.
Oh, yeah,
it gives me anxiety every time I log in.
But that's where I go get all my copywriting. I just go in there and find the guys.
That's true.
Who I literally have in my life went down and just looked at all of the titles and saw which ones jumped out, which one, if I could just scan down the page, what dropped out. Okay, there you go.
Yep.
Hey, listen, I'm probably using some of your email sequences because I stole them from somebody else.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, the one that I'm focusing on right now is the cryptocurrency summit. To answer your question.
Nice. So when is that going to take place?
So we're hoping to launch that as soon as possible, but these things take time.
Sure, absolutely.
So probably around March or so. We're in the stage right now where we're gathering our speakers. So that's actually something. If anyone knows of any people that would like to speak at a summit, this is gonna be pretty big. Get in touch with me because we're currently in the phase of where we're building that roster. So
perfect.
We're looking for people that are specializing. I think our subcategories right now are ranging from day trading to ICOs. We'll probably have an entire day dedicated just to Bitcoin alone. Also Ethereum, just the other altcoins. So anyone that, mining. So anyone that has something to bring to the table, definitely get them in touch with me.
Okay.
So
nice. And how do they do that?
I guess, right now, so for this particular project, the email would be stephanie@cryptofomo.com. The fear of missing out. Yeah.
Okay.
Fear of missing out on the crypto experience.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Stephanie@cryptofomo.com. But that's basically what's taking up all my time right now.
Nice.
Outside of all the lunches I go on, I'm like meeting up with way
I
too
know.
many
Funny,
people.
I'm like a hermit compared to you guys.
Oh, you are a hermit.
I am a hermit.
You are.
I
go to the place all the time. They're like, "Where's Nick at?" I don't know, man. He's
Yeah.
at home working on YouTube.
Yeah, I've been here for 11 years, right? And
Wow.
I've been in Thailand.
Chiang-
I've been in
oh.
Thailand for 11 years. I've been in Chiang Mai for 6.
Whoa.
And as far as the digital nomad community is concerned, because I just do my own thing, right?
Yeah.
So as far as the digital nomad community is concerned, I'm completely
removed
not
from it.
plugged in.
Yeah.
I'm not plugged in.
But
It's
he
funny.
also has 100,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, so I have to maintain that, but it's that's my bubble,
Yeah.
so to speak. So it's the digital nomad thing. I'm just getting into, hanging out with
Sure.
some people from time to time, but still I'm still in full hermit mode that I need to break out of to take more advantage of what's going on here.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing. Wow.
Very good.
That's so crazy. Wow, 6 years.
Yeah.
I hardly ever meet people that have been here for that long.
Yeah, Thailand for 11. So
Wow.
yeah, it's been
What brought you
a
to
fun thing. My brother actually lived here first.
Oh, okay.
And I got same thing, you had your big change where you got out of the relationship and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Same thing, got out of a relationship, and I was like, it's time for change.
Yep.
And my brother, I was talking to him on the phone. He's like, hey, come over here for a month and just kind of clear your head and all that stuff.
Yep.
And I came over, fell in love with the place.
Of course.
And then, that started my ball rolling, so to speak. So
So if you could go back, we'll sum it up with this. If you could go back and you were talking to you 5 years ago,
Yep.
so wherever you were at that point, you're going to go back and
years
talk
ago.
to her. Now
Okay.
you've learned all of this stuff. You've had all these
Yeah.
experiences. You've moved around the world. What would you tell her?
So I would tell her to put a little bit of money away in savings when I still had that job. And yeah, I would say put a little bit every month, just put a little, and then start building just immediately. Just start, thinking about a way to be remote so that you can have that kind of freedom you want in your life, and think about how you want to do that. I don't know if copywriting would have occurred to me, but something would have, if I had done the research, I would have found something. And to just slowly start building. I think maybe once upon a time I used to tell people, oh yeah, I got laid off, and then I just jumped into it and I made it work. So, sometimes you just got to take the leap and quit your job and just go and move to Chiang Mai. You'll figure it out later. And I don't advocate that now. I'm very much it's funny because I think I had a friend of mine who recently was considering quitting her job, and she lives back in Austin, and she asked me for advice thinking that I was going to support that decision because of my own background and my own story, and I was the only one out of all her friends that actually advised her not to do it. I told her, I was like, keep the job and start building your dream, but keep the job for a little bit. You don't want to be that person that takes off, comes here,
and ends up desperate.
and ends up
Yeah.
desperate, and then you feel like you failed, and then you just go back, and now you're never going to give it another shot. I really think that everybody can make this work for them in some way, and they just have to plan a little bit and figure it out, and come with a little bit more of a security, I guess. And then they'll be able to make it work, because Chiang Mai's easy. Once you're here,
Yeah,
it is.
it's easy.
And one thing also that comes with that security and that people underestimate is if you make a leap like that, to where not only are you putting yourself in a foreign environment, you're starting a new career path and all of that stuff, the stress that's involved with that. But when you put yourself in an environment and you're not prepared for it financially, then your brain goes into, oh crap, I got to figure out how I have to make money, instead of how can I design the best life for myself, right? So when you make that preparation first, it leaves a lot more open to you as far as actually designing the life that you're going to lead for, however long, instead of being like, oh God, I got to make sure that I can, eat and take care of my visas and all that stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of the allure of Chiang Mai, in particular, I keep referencing Chiang Mai because that's where I've spent most of my time. Sure. I know there are other great cities that offer this too, but Chiang Mai is fantastic. You really can just be in this city and work hard and put your head down, but you can also escape and go to the mountains.
Oh yeah.
You can hop on a flight and go to the beach. You can do all these you can have that true balance if you want it, really have a high quality life, but you're not going to be able to do that. You're literally going to be living in your office in Chiang Mai, no different than what you would be doing back home in the States if you don't have your shit together.
Right.
So,
right.
What's the point? What's the point? Like, make it so that you can really enjoy your time here.
Every online entrepreneur has digital tools that contribute to their success. What's in your digital toolbox?
So there's this part in the show where every week we talk about what you might have in your digital toolbox, which might be blogs, inspirational types things, actual software tools or organizational tools, things you use, applications on your phone. Just give us an idea about things that are helping you to make your life great and improve your life that are just around you.
Sure. So right now, because I'm obsessed with virtual summits, I think like a lot of my stuff is going to be kind of tailored around that.
Perfect.
Yeah. So like, as far as getting everything organized and, where I can log in and I know exactly what I need to be doing, I'm using a project management software. I'm using Asana. I know Asana is really intimidating for a lot of people, but I've learned how to nail it, and I might even one day just do a video about that because I really feel like I have a good system for Asana. So I use Asana. That's a tool I use every single day. I also use Airtable every single day. Are you guys familiar with Airtable? It's kind of like trying to compete with like Microsoft Excel. So it's a spreadsheet software. It's you can go to airtable.com, sign up for a free account. The difference is that the UI on Airtable is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's intuitive. It's robust. You can do a lot more, I feel like. So for keeping track of things, if you have like contacts that you need to keep track or something like that, it's amazing what you can do with Airtable. It's a really great software. So I use that every day. As far as what I'm reading, I'm actually trying to get out of the marketing bubble that I'm in usually. Okay. I've subscribed to so many newsletters that it's really easy for me to click on every blog post. I don't, first of all, let's be real here. But I read a lot of marketing stuff. I'm actually trying to get inspired by things that are not in the marketing world right now. So, I'm reading a little bit more. I'm actually reading things like, a little bit more fiction and stuff like that. But I'd say a great resource for anyone that is going to be using copywriting at all in their business, which, let's be real, that's everybody, would be Joanna Wiebe. She's fantastic. First of all, she's a female copywriter, so who's killing it, which, I got to give props to her for that. She's got some great courses out there for anyone that wants to jump into copywriting. So I highly recommend that. But her blog is fantastic. I think she writes some of the most well thought out blogs on copywriting, besides Neville, out there. And so, whenever I'm feeling like I need to kind of refresh a little bit and kind of see what's going on in the industry, I'll always check in with her and her blog. So I highly recommend. I think her blog is called copyhackers.com. So
great name.
Yeah. If you guys want to check that out. And then, let's see, what else? Yeah, I think.
Are you listening to any podcasts?
Yeah, so I've actually been recently, I feel like it's so cliche to drop a Tim Ferriss podcast, but he really did do a really good one with Nick Szabos, on cryptocurrency. And so I've just been, I was listening to that podcast again and again. It does a really good job for anyone that's interested in cryptocurrency and wants to kind of get a general feel of what's happening in the industry and get to hear it come from one of the godfathers of the cryptocurrency space, Nick Szabos. that's a fantastic podcast to listen to. If you just do Tim Ferriss, Nick Szabos, cryptocurrency in Google, you'll find it. But yeah, that one's fantastic. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's so much more.
Okay,
that I'm
yeah,
just
that's
not
cool.
thinking off the top of my head.
So if people want to find out more about you, or they want to connect with you, they want to find out more about your summit or the multiple summits that you're involved in, how do people get in touch with you?
So I used to tell people I would send them to my email address, but if I'm going to be real, I spend more time on Facebook. It's like, as I've noticed that as an, coming into this lifestyle, Facebook is really the most consistent thing I have. Like I change phone numbers, I get involved in different projects, so sometimes my email changes. I used to, have the email Stephanie@thecuriouscopywriter.com when I was working in copywriting, and now I don't have that anymore because I've pivoted. So I hate giving emails and stuff because who knows where I'll be.
6 years from now, you'll still have a Facebook page.
I'll still have Facebook.
And it will be putting pictures of us on there reminding you that we were friends 6 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. God, those can be so awkward sometimes. I'm like, I don't need to be reminded that I had this embarrassing photo. Thank you very much, Facebook. But
please, and then you accidentally share it. Then
you're like, no. Yeah. So I would say find me on Facebook, Stephanie Simmon. I love, meeting new people that way. Facebook, I actually used Facebook as a great networking tool before coming back to Chiang Mai. I just kind of found people that were in Chiang Mai that were connected to people that I knew from last time I was here. Went on a friending spree, which maybe is a bit taboo, but whatever, I did it. And then met for coffee with those people when I got here. And it was a great way to just immediately make friends. So I use it for personal and professional things.
Sure.
So that would be the way to find me. Yeah.
All right.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You've been listening to the Digital Journey Podcast, navigating you through your online business voyage. We'll see you next week. And if you've not listened to the previous podcast, check them out at our website at digitaljourneypodcast.com.
We also encourage you to give us some feedback, so leave a review or send us a message. And if you have a great story that you want to share, you can reach out to Rob at gorillasonline.com, or you can reach out to me at nickniman.com. And if you're interested in searching for an online business or selling your business, make sure you check out empireflippers.com. Each week, I get an email from Justin, who's one of the partners over there, and there are usually 6 to 10 new businesses for sale every week. So opportunity is waiting for you at empireflippers.com.
Thanks again, Stephanie.
Thank you. This was so fun.
Journey. We wish you tons and tons of success in the future.
Thank you.
And we'll have to compare notes on places to go eat in Chiang Mai.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We're going to have to outduel each other on
lunches.
We hope that you've enjoyed this podcast. We hope that you've enjoyed this podcast and it has inspired you. Before I let you go, I'm going to share some wise words from some other super smart business people. Some people being afraid of what could go wrong and start being excited about what could go right. That's Mr. Tony Robbins.
Yes.
I'd like to share some
like that guy knows
bombs.
what he's talking about.
Who's that?
Who's that guy? Hey, thanks for listening.
You're listening to the Digital Journey Podcast. The Digital Journey is brought to you by Empire Flippers, the largest marketplace for selling and purchasing online businesses. EmpireFlippers.com.